Hey there, Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. But today I would talk a little bit about creating separation. That's a little misleading in that I don't think that we're trying to create separation. When I hear that, it's what a lot of times I'll see on YouTube is instructors and coaches, and all well-meaning. I'm not saying these guys are wrong. I'm just saying as far as my approach with kids, if you're telling a player to create separation with their hands in this phase of the swing, you're asking for trouble. I think, in my experience, when players are pushing their hands away from them, normally what they're doing is they're disconnecting. I think all the pieces that drive this upper half and help us remain connected, help us stay to the inside, and so forth. And you see Aaron Hicks here. This is a great example of what I try to teach players is that we're trying to stay as quiet as possible as we're going into our weight shift. Is that the only way? No, but it is what I teach, particularly to young players, because this way they know where their hands are in space as we're falling into our weight shift. They know where the barrel is in space as we're falling into our weight shift, and that's really important. So I call this phase of the swing the calm before the storm. I'm trying to get players to stay really quiet. Now, as far as separation goes, now again, my players might start exactly in the position that Aaron Hicks is in at that point right there, and then I try to get them to hold that all the way in their weight shift. Now, separation is here, right? This is where I think it's really important when they get to their weight shift. This is where we have to have the proper pieces that are so-called separated. And what is separated? Well, certainly not the hands and arms and barrel. We're not trying to separate that, okay? And if you see that online, I'll just say be careful with that. That's again a recipe for a disconnect. But the separation, I believe that's really important is when players get to their weight shift, is their upper half and lower half separated, right? So in other words, you can see here Aaron Hicks' hips are basically closed, maybe what you might consider parallel to the plate, right? And then you see his upper half, right, is still locked back and loaded, if you will, right? So if I'll draw an angle on my editing software, but you'll have these angles where this is torque, right? These are the hands in the upper half still loaded back, getting ready to unload, right? And that's the proper separation. But trying to teach players separation by moving their hands and arms back, or I've heard people talk about walking away from the hands as you stride. I think you can find evidence of that, and I'm not saying it's impossible to hit that way. I just still think that's something that will create a lot of problems with most youth players because of they have a hard enough time staying connected and taking the short route to the ball. So the more you emphasize separation by disconnect, the more that you're probably going to get a player into big trouble. Okay, so challenge your players to work on whenever they're going into their weight shift that their hands and their barrel are just back and along for the ride. The calm before the storm, right? That way, when we get to our landing, we still have everything back, the proper separation, if you will, and because they've maintained some sort of connection with this upper half machine that we've created and set up, right? They're going to be able to work to the inside like a beast. All right, so hey, this is Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.